So yes, karma, topic for tonight. Karma, the thing that everyone talks about, but no one actually fully understands. What is karma? How does it work? Is it just like a thing you throw around, what goes around comes around, or is there more to it than that? So, tonight, we will talk about what is karma, and how does it create good and bad reactions? How do you change your karma? And how does karma affect reincarnation? And finally, how do you stop collecting karma? Which, as a preview for the final conclusion of my talk, is what we are practicing here. One of the many things we teach here is how do you stop karma? How do you stop reaction? So, karma is the art of all work, and it's really interesting. Let's get started. So, what is karma? Here, Dogbert says, I believe in karma. It means I can do bad things to people all day long and assume they deserve it. That's karma? maybe not. But karma is intensely practical and not in the way Dogbert here is suggesting. So, if you pick up Bhagavad Gita, which we have to say outside, many of you probably already have the book Bhagavad Gita, which explains spiritual knowledge, a 5,000-year-old book full of ancient wisdom. It explains that the intricacies of action are very hard to understand. So, you're forgiven if you don't understand it. Therefore, you should know properly what action is, karma, what forbidden action is, vikarma, and what inaction is, akarma. So, karma breaks down into 3 different types of karma. Karma, vikarma, and akarma. A law of the universe. And they're really 2 separate bank accounts, good karma and bad karma. Vikarma is bad karma, and plain karma is good karma. So when you perform some action, if it's a good action, you get a good reaction, and you fill up your good karma bank account. If you perform some bad activity, do something bad to someone, you get some bad karma, you get some vikarma that fills up your bad karma bank account. Then when something good happens to you, someone goes and says, you're really amazing. Then your good karma bank account goes up and down because you've used up some of your good karma to get that nice reaction. When you get some bad thing happen to you, if I come up to you and slap you, your bad karma bank account goes down a bit because you've burned off some of your bad karma. And in that way, you carry on. Depending on how you react to whatever happens to you, more karma gets accumulated. So an example of how this applies in real life and how this is intensely practical is a couple of years ago, I was visiting my parents in Germany. I'm originally from Germany. Grew up in a place called, few Germans in the audience. Ja, ich bin in Deutschland aufgewachsen in Nähe Frankfurt am Main in einer Stadt Königstein im Taunus. Und das war 20 Jahre jetzt her, seit ich das letzte Mal in Deutschland gewohnt habe. So yes, I grew up in Germany. So, I grew up in Germany. I was talking to a friend, and a friend of mine said to me in German, obviously, ich möchte so gern so viel Geld haben, aber ich habe kein Geld. Wie kann ich mehr Geld bekommen? Oder sowas ähnliches. He basically said, I wish I had lots of money. And I said to him, well, if you had the karma to have lots of money, you would already have it. And he was like, what? What? And I explained. If you have sufficient good karma in your bank account, and that good karma is of the sort that you the reaction that you get is getting lots of money, and some people have intensely good karma in terms of money. Money just kind of flows to them, they don't have to do anything. And other people have really bad money karma, where they play the lottery all the time and lose every single time, hoping that they get more money. And then one day, they actually win the lottery and maybe win $1 million. And half a year later, they've spent it all, it's ruined their life, and they wish they'd never won. So, no matter what you do, if you have bad money karma, even if you win the lottery, you won't get to keep any money. But no matter what you do, if you have good money karma, you practically can't not be rich. It's impossible for you. Such as a person like Warren Buffett, who lost his entire fortune and then built it up to even more than it was within 5 years of investing. And he's like the third or fourth richest person in the world now. So I explained, your karma determines your wealth, not your desire, not your hard work, not anything else. And you can see it practically in the world. So you trying to go, I wish I had so much money, I'll work really hard, that's not going to do anything for you. You really need to work on your karma first. Then the result will come second. And this, of course, corresponds with what's explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. So once you've read Bhagavad Gita, you can move on to Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the graduate study to Bhagavad Gita, where it explains, it is not possible simply by endeavoring to accumulate more money. Otherwise, almost everyone would be on the same level of wealth. In reality, everyone is earning and acquiring according to their predestined karma. We are sometimes faced with dangerous or miserable conditions without endeavoring for them. And similarly, we may have prosperous conditions without endeavoring for them. We are advised to let these things come as predestined. We should therefore engage our valuable time in practicing Krishna consciousness. In other words, one should be satisfied by our natural condition. So yes, that's the basis of karma. So now you might ask, okay, what creates this good and bad reaction? What should I do that creates bad reaction? And what should I avoid doing that creates bad reaction? And what should I do that creates good reaction? And you can debate, and you can read in the yoga literature about yama and niyama. Yama being the things you should avoid doing, and niyama the things that you should be doing. Things like ahimsa, which is non-violence. Don't commit violence to everyone is something that you should avoid doing, avoid violence. And something niyama like socha, you should be clean. Be clean inside and out, have a clean mind and clean body. So that creates good reaction. So you can read about all these things, and I won't go into them in depth here because there's a lot to learn, and you can go really deep. There's so many rules and things that you can do. But just to give you a bit of an understanding of how tricky this can be sometimes, who's heard of self-driving cars? Self-driving cars. Every major car company in the world is working on self-driving cars because the first company to crack this means that you don't have to pay the driver anymore because there's no driver. And truck driver, postal delivery, so many taxis, all is completely revolutionized, all becomes 100 times cheaper. So, but then there comes an ethical dilemma of what should happen in a situation like this, where scientists do these kind of tests, where there's a self-driving car, 3 passengers in the car, 3 people crossing the road. The car can either run over the people on the road or crash into a barrier, killing everyone in the car. So what should the car do? But 2 of the people on the road are criminals who just robbed the bank. Who should the car kill? The people in the car or the innocent woman and the 2 criminals who are crossing the road? And you're like, it's 3 people either way, and well, they kind of want to kill the criminals, but maybe that'll be reformed. And so you start thinking, you do these moral tests and go, who decides? I don't know. Here's another one. Okay, 4 people in the car, and on the road is 2 children, a pregnant woman, a dog, and a cat. Who's the car going to get? The 4 people in the 4 people in the car, or the 3 people and 2 animals on the road? And
she's pregnant. That's one.
Yeah. So do we count a pregnant person? Yeah. So it becomes quite quite interesting. Scientists are trying to determine what should we program the car with? What moral authority should we program this car with?
Apply the brakes.
Yeah, what if you don't have enough time to apply the brakes? Self-driving cars have much faster reactions than humans, so in theory they avoid more accidents than they cause, but there would always be a situation where they have to decide who they're going to kill.
Would it be more fair if you enter a self-driving car that you disclaimer that if this happens, you drive into the barrier because you made the choice to enter, whereas those people.
So yeah, good question. But when the head of self-driving research at this car company, Mercedes, was asked the question of, okay, what are you going to program your car to do at a conference? And his answer was extremely pragmatic, saying the car is going to save the driver every time. Because no one is going to buy a car that's going to kill you. So yes. So yeah, karma. We're talking about karma and how it's hard to decide what is good karma, what is bad karma. One really obvious, what do you call it? Rule of karma is that killing is bad. Generally, if we kill people, animals, we get a bad reaction from that, a quite severely bad reaction. And it's one interesting nuance is that it's not just the person doing the killing that gets the reaction. In the example of a slaughterhouse, bad karma is distributed to the person who gives permission for the killing to go on, the person that actually does the killing, the person that sells the meat, the person that cooks it, the person that distributes it, and the person who finally eats it. So you might say, I didn't kill the cow, but that's no excuse in the eyes of karma. Everyone involved in the whole industry, in the whole cycle, gets a bad reaction. And the more sophisticated the animal, the worse the reaction. So, like killing an ant or a spider or something is not particularly bad in terms of karma. Killing a cow or a monkey or something is really bad. Killing a human, even worse. So there is some progress being made in this department. That people are starting to realize this. For example, there's a company called WeWork that has recently banned meat at all corporate events. And if you're an employee, you can't expense claim a meal that had meat in it. So I'll read the article because it's interesting. WeWork's co-founder, Miguel McKelvey, wrote in an email that the meat ban is an effort to reduce the company's carbon footprint. WeWork estimates the policy will save 500 million pounds of carbon dioxide emissions by 2023, 17 billion gallons of water, and 15 million animals, just in the one company. New research indicates that avoiding meat is one of the biggest things an individual can do to reduce their personal environmental impact, even more than switching to a hybrid car or riding a bicycle, McKelvey said in a statement. WeWork directly employs 6,000 people and provides co-working spaces for companies in locations all around the world. The meat ban will affect all offices, in all the company's locations. So yeah, this is good leadership. McKelvey maybe has realized that the person that gives permission for the killing to go on gets some karma, and he is, by instituting this policy, he is showing great leadership and removing his karmic burden. As chief of the company, he would share some of the bad karma for allowing meat eating to go on in his company, and he said no. And of course, the environmental impact, the health impact, and so many other things. Besides the bad karma, you're destroying the planet by eating meat, you're destroying your own body by eating meat, and it's cruel to the animals that you're killing them. So many reasons to be vegetarian. Karma is just one. And this idea is starting to permeate the world. So you might ask, okay, I'm in with karma. How do I change it? What do I do to change my karmic profile? How do I get more good karma because I want good things to happen to me? I don't want to be slapped. I want to be complimented. Russell Brand, who's a British comedian, recently had an interview with Joe Rogan, who's a MMA fighter and now a radio host. And Joe Rogan had this to say, which relates very, very closely to what you can do to change your karma.
What do you want to change about yourself?
Just keep going the same way I'm going. Get better at being nice, get better at being honest, get better at being loving. It sounds all hokey, hippie
No, it
bullshit.
sounds good. It sounds this is what it is.
Yeah, I want to be nicer. I want to have better relationships with my friends, better relationships with my family, better relationships with people that I don't even know that I meet. I just want to interface with the world in a more positive way. I think one of the most important things to realize is all the interactions that we have with each other are dependent upon two individuals or more, right? But it's you and whoever you encounter.
Yeah.
And the way you encounter them is going to change the way they behave to you. And everybody always wants to put it off on the person who behaved a certain way to them.
Mm-hmm.
And in some ways, you're right. But in other ways, your reaction is completely dependent on your own way of approaching it, and your reaction may change the way they react.
You're completely right. Yeah. Like if throwing a ball against that brick wall, it will bounce back a certain way. But if that became a softer surface, or indeed a furry wall, to quote one of my own films, then it will bounce back in a different way. So this is another thing that's in the program: the necessity for forgiveness.
Yes.
That if you instead of blaming your past and blaming other people, you come to a point of forgiveness. This creates the nexus for change. As long as you're like, oh, that person felt me up when I was a kid, or my stepdad wasn't a loving figure in my life. As long as I hold on to that belief, I'm trapped by it.
Right.
The minute I say, I relinquish that now, it's not happening anymore, I'm willing to move forward, that's another human being, they were doing the best they could. Suddenly you're liberated and your path changes.
Yeah, so your path changes. So in this kind of situation, you're getting screamed at, hypothetically. Never happened to anyone before, right? And you can't change your karma. You're getting some bad reaction from past karma, from past bad karma, but you can choose your future karma by how you react to the situation. And depending on how you react, you will either get positive reaction in the future from the karma that you're putting into your good karma bank account, or you will get negative reaction in the future from the karma that you put in your bad karma bank account. And it's your choice in the moment. What you do determines your future. So you have no influence in what happens to you. That's completely predetermined by what you've done previously. But you have all influence over what you do in the situation. But it's not quite so simple. If you look back in Bhagavad Gita, we learn that it says, the bewildered soul, under the influence of the three modes of material nature, thinks itself the doer of activities that are actually carried out by nature. And you're like, well, what? What does that mean? Well, have you ever been in this situation before?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Do you go for the junk food or do you go for the fruit? And even though you might know, most of us know, I should really go for the fruit, you end up choosing the junk food. Why? Why is this going on? And the Krishna literature explains, you're not a simple, you're not just your body. Your self is composed of a consciousness, which is the true self, which is connected to a mind, a subtle mind, which the organ for which is the brain, which is surrounded by the physical body that acts out your desires and intentions. So your body will do whatever the mind says. The mind is, you can think of it as a machine that you train. Depending on what you train the mind to do and that's how it will react. And its job is to, when faced with a circumstance, go yes or no, basically. Should I have some fruit? The mind will say, ooh. If you've trained the mind to really hate fruit, then it'll go, oh, I don't like fruit. No, and your body will eat the junk food. If you trained your mind to really like fruit by maybe watching some documentaries on the glories of health benefits of fruit, or reading a book about healthy diet, or hanging around lots of people that are really healthy and seeing how great their life is because they eat lots of fruit. All these things influence the mind and train it to like the fruit more. And then when you're faced in a situation where you have to decide, where you're this person, you go, oh, I picked the fruit, of course. You don't even think about it. Your consciousness doesn't even have to enter into the equation because your mind automatically reacts. And it's really difficult to override the mind in the moment, in the heat of the moment. The mind will just react with whatever it's been trained to do. But your consciousness has the power to go, hey, wait a minute, I made this mistake in the past. Let me take some positive steps to train the mind so I don't make this mistake in the future. Otherwise, just saying, oh, I'll never do that again. I'll never eat that sweet again. That doesn't work. Because next time, the same thing, the same pattern keeps repeating. Because everyone thinks they're just a body. No one realizes, oh, there's this mind thing that is an interface between my consciousness and my body. And I have the power to change my mind. My mind is not me. So, with this Krishna conscious knowledge, you can go, oh, yes, of course. That bad activity that I did, that wasn't me. That was just my mind regurgitating what I've learned in my childhood 20 years ago. I have the power to change that. That's not me. So many people identify with their mind thinking, I believe whatever, and that is me. That is what constitutes myself. But no, it's not you. It's just something that's been trained by teachers, parents, friends, former associates, all these things. So free will only truly exists in the realm of your consciousness. Everything else is predetermined. So when Bhagavad Gita explains that the bewildered soul, under the influence of the modes of material nature, thinks itself the doer of activities which are actually carried out by nature, what it's saying is that you think you chose the junk food? No, it wasn't you. Your consciousness had nothing to do with it. It was actually your mind, your body acting out the influence of the mind. Okay, everybody got that? All right. Next topic. Reincarnation. Karma and reincarnation are intrinsically linked together. Bhagavad Gita explains that whatever state of being one remembers when one quits one's body, or Sanskrit, that state one will attain without fail. So your karma determines your next body. Also determining your next body is what you remember when you die. And these are two sides of the same coin. You remember the last thing, the most predominant thing that you remember as you're dying is the thing that has predominated your karma. Whatever influence that has been most prominent in your life, that's the thing that you think of and desire at the end of life. So what happens technically, we have our body, mind, and consciousness again. There's a dead body stabbed by a knife. And the mind detaches, mind and consciousness detach from the dead body and attach to a baby's body in a mother's womb somewhere. That's simply spoken how reincarnation happens. The body is just a machine. When the machine breaks, the mind and consciousness attach to a new machine because they have their program of karma that they want to act out, karmic reaction that they need to experience. You've built up this karma bank account full of good and bad karma. You have to have the experience of that karma coming and giving you the choice of how to react. So you can't have those experiences without a physical body, so you get a new body and can keep experiencing the results of your karma. So the whole cycle of reincarnation only happens because karma is there. Without karma, you'd have no reason to have another body. And whatever you remember is a direct result of what you've done in your life, what experiences you've cultivated. So, some people, say a doctor who's just done incredibly nice things, saving people's life all his career, he might choose to or be granted to reincarnate in the body in a different planet somewhere in the universe where people have wings and everything's beautiful and people live for a great long time. Basically, the Christian idea of heaven, which is the Christian literature explains just one of various dimensions or planets throughout the universe that you can reach through reincarnation. And you can stay there for some time. It's like a vacation, and then you have to come back to Earth. And once your good karma credits have run out, you have such incredible good karma, you can take a vacation in the heavenly planet, as it's called, and have amazing, nice things happen to you. And then once that's run out, you come back to Earth and you carry on with your life and can make choices once again, which influence your future direction. And there's other planets beyond that where there's different circumstances. We can go into it at some other time. Most people, though, aren't that particularly good or bad. They reincarnate and become another human somewhere in the world. And Ian Stevenson is a researcher who researched past life memories in children. He wrote like a 2,000-page book detailing cases of children who remember their past life. He took some, and then he researches and tracks down who the person was that the child is claiming to be in their previous life. So here he tracked some children in China, I think, and who remembered that. The way this manifests, he explains in his book, is that as soon as the child is able to communicate, they say, "The name you're calling me is not my name. My name is this. My name is something else." The parents have named the child whatever, Joe, and the child's like, "I'm not Joe. I'm Abdul." And they're like, "What?" "No, that's my name." And they're like, "Okay." And usually the childs have birthmarks or scars if they've died in some particular violent way. And if they've died in a car crash where they've been cut open, they have a big birthmark. And usually their gender stays the same. 90% of cases, gender doesn't swap, although it can swap. And generally physical appearance is very similar from the person they used to be to the person they are now, because the mind shapes the body. So the way our body looks is determined by our mind. You can see people who have really horrible thoughts, their whole face distorts. In the same way, the person's mind influences who the mind going into a body of a baby will completely change that baby's features to reflect who the person was in their previous life. So you can see these people, the old person and the young child that remembers being the old person, they look extremely similar. So then, some people who have a particular mindset don't become people in their next life. They become... So someone who's really into their meat eating, they are actually better off. Humans are actually really bad at killing animals with their bare hands and biting into them and digesting them. I don't know if you've ever tried it, but it's kind of hard. Try doing that to a cow and see how far you get. So tigers, much better body for that kind of thing. So naturally, when such a person dies and their karma from their past activity is such that they really just enjoy tearing into flesh, then much better for them to have the body of a tiger. It's not a punishment. It's more like reflecting what they really want from life. Similarly, someone that's really into smoking weed, body of a tree, kind of appropriate. Really wants to zone out, stone out, and be nothing, not have any thoughts. Tree, good body. Again, not punishment, just how the person has acted throughout their life. And finally, somewhat unfortunate. We have a huge suicide problem in New Zealand where so many people commit suicide. And it's very unfortunate because people are not educated in the laws of karma. They think that suicide is a solution. You have so many problems in your life and kill yourself. Solution, my problems stop. No, not the case. Same principle applies. If you kill your body, one, you're killing a human, which is not cool, killing someone else. But also, by your action, explaining or acting out the desire not to have a body at all. So, the appropriate body for someone that doesn't want to have a body is a ghost. A ghost is a mind without a body, roaming with just like psychics can influence things with their mind. They can kind of move things or connect with other people subtly and put thoughts into other people. Ghosts are like that, but don't have a body. So imagine having unlimited desires. You're extremely hungry. You want to hug someone. You want to drive a car. You want to do so many things, but you can't because you don't have a body. Your body passes right through anything. It can't interact with anything. It's the most frustrating thing you could ever imagine. Burning with hunger, but you can't eat. So that's the body of a ghost. It's extremely unfortunate for the people that end up in that situation. And in due course of time, their ghost body dissolves and they reincarnate again. But suicide leads to ghost bodies, which is no.
All ghosts are people that kill themselves?
Not necessarily. There's also people that are really attached to a certain situation and want to stay in a particular house or in a particular relationship. But most people are suicides. Yes. And finally, the goal of Krishna consciousness is to accumulate no karma. If your good and bad karma bank accounts are empty, then you can stop the cycle of reincarnation and transfer your consciousness into a realm of pure spirit where there is no matter, where all of the problems with living a life in this material world go away because there is no matter, and everything is spirit, and everyone is spirit, and this is pure spiritual consciousness and relationship for everyone. But you might think, how is that even possible? Because every action you do results in more karma. So how could you possibly have no karma in your bank, no good karma, no bad karma in your bank account? So yes, our final topic for today. How do you stop collecting karma? How do I stop acting? Maybe how about this? How about I go to the Himalayas and meditate in a cave, or meditate on top of a mountain and just do nothing. Then stuff will still happen to me. Maybe there's a rainstorm and I get really wet and catch pneumonia. That'll be bad karma. Maybe it'll be a nice sunny day and it'll be so beautiful landscape and I'll be enjoying the landscape. That decreases my good karma, and that way I'll reduce my karma bank accounts. Will that work? No. Bhagavad Gita explains that everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities one has acquired from the modes of material nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. Damn it! My plan isn't gonna work. I can't stop doing anything even for a moment, because even by breathing, you're creating new karma. And realistically, who can go to the Himalayas and meditate? I can't. It's completely unrealistic. Most people today just can't do that kind of thing. So even if you could minimize your karma, theoretically, by meditating all day, no one here can do that. So maybe like there's one guy who's like, yeah, I did it for 10 years, but practically speaking, no, it's impossible. So if you can't stop yourself doing something, not even for a moment, how do you stop karma? Seems like impossible. And this Krishna consciousness claims that you can stop karma by something, by some activity. How do you do it? So, would you like to know? Yes. So, to explain this, let's look back into a tragic event which will hopefully teach the principle behind this. You'll remember about 2 years ago, there was this really cruel terrorist attack in Nice, France, where a terrorist hijacked a truck and drove through a crowd of people on Bastille Day and killed like 80 people with the truck. And in the end, 5 minutes after he started his rampage, police arrived and shot the terrorist. So someone recorded the police attacking the driver of the truck. It was really tragic and horrible of the terrorist to kill so many people. But you might ask, did the policeman get bad karma for killing the terrorist? No. Yes, no. What do you think?
Yes.
Yes, anyone else? No. Killing is bad? Isn't that universal principle? But no, surely. Well, the answer is no. You don't get bad karma. The policeman didn't get bad karma for killing the terrorist. But why? Why?
He's doing it in service of humanity. He's trying to save humanity.
He's trying to save people's lives?
Doing it in the mode of goodness.
Yeah, so the policeman might get a medal for killing someone, whereas if the policeman shoots a normal person on the street, gets arrested and goes to jail. So what's the difference? Can anyone share what they think the difference is? He's protecting
people who are innocent.
Yeah, he's protecting innocent people. So the difference here, and this is the key principle behind the no karma thing, is that what's the reason why you're performing the action? One person might perform an action for some selfish reason. Another person might perform the action for a completely unselfish reason. The policeman didn't want to kill the terrorist, but had to do it. It was his job and occupation to shoot and kill the driver of the truck because his job is to protect people. And he was fully authorized by the state and by the people around to perform that action. So, Bhagavad Gita explains, therefore, without being attached to the fruits of activities, meaning I'm not doing this for me, I'm not doing because I want to enjoy the fruit of my activity. You do an action, you want to enjoy the fruit of the action, you want the outcome of the action. So without being attached to the outcome of action, one should act as a matter of duty, for by working without attachment, one attains the supreme. The policeman is acting out of duty to protect people. And acting in that duty, the policeman can kill and not incur any reaction. So applying this to Krishna consciousness and life in general, Bhagavad Gita explains that the steadily devoted soul, or consciousness, attains unadulterated peace because they offer the results of all activities to me, Krishna, whereas a person who is not in union with the divine, who is greedy for the fruits of their labor, becomes entangled. So the goal of the yoga system is to connect yourself to Krishna, to Supreme, and in that connection, you can perform what's called karma yoga. You can perform action, karma action. Yoga literally means to link. So linking action that is not for some selfish benefit, but action that is meant for the benefit of Krishna here. That action creates no reaction because you're not doing it for yourself. You're doing it for a higher purpose. And this isn't an excuse for bad behavior. Where you say, I did this, but the reason why I did this was because I meant to dedicate it to Krishna. And that doesn't work because only certain actions are dedicatable. So like, you couldn't eat meat and saying, I'm doing it for Krishna. Because Krishna says, Krishna's rules are don't eat meat. So by performing this completely altruistic, non-selfish action, you can be like the police officer. You can do everything in your life, but not for yourself, for the benefit of Krishna and ultimately for the benefit of all of humanity too, because the kinds of activities that you can do that benefit Krishna benefit everyone in general also as a side effect. So in that, I get the question to the end. So in that action, you can perform so many activities, but incur no reaction because you're not doing it. You're not doing it for yourself. You're doing it for someone else. And that someone else is not another person where they don't have the power to remove the reaction from the action. You're doing it for Krishna, who ultimately set up the whole system. So, in conclusion of this system of karma yoga, there's a verse in the Isha Upanishad that says, and says this in Sanskrit. And since everyone's Sanskrit is probably a bit rusty, this is the translation. One may aspire to live for hundreds of years if one continually goes on working in that way, working without incurring reaction. For that sort of work will not bind one to the laws of karma. There is no alternative to this way for one. So you can perform actions for hundreds of years, doing all kinds of stuff in the world, but if you do it in this way, in this no karma, karma yoga principle of non-selfish action, then you will not bind you to the law of karma. And that is the way to act for everyone. So then, karma yoga, the art of all work, in summary. We understand that karma is action, and vikarma is bad action, and akarma is inaction. But not inaction of doing nothing, but acting in complete union with the Supreme. And improper actions creates bad reaction. Karma yoga action creates no reaction. A well-trained person, a well-trained mind can help us react properly in situations where we at least don't get bad reactions. And if we do good karma things, we can generate a nice body for us when we inevitably reincarnate. But we can stop collecting karma altogether by working for Krishna, and that will help stop the cycle of reincarnation. As our karma bank accounts deplete to zero, we no longer need to take another body when the current body expires, because there's no reaction left. And it really just is a mindset shift of why are you doing what you're doing? And then there's a practical shift of what are you doing in your life? Is it something that is in line with the laws of nature, with the laws of what humans are meant to be doing with their lives? So in one sense, this is fully possible and even easy to live in this way, no karma way. It's like, I just need to do everything for the right reason and do the right things under guidance of spiritual teachers who have studied this kind of thing and know what's a good thing to do in my life. In our sense, it's really hard because you need to surrender your own selfish desires, going, but I want to do stuff for me, which is quite hard, and it's a gradual thing. But I do encourage everyone to try, because even a little bit of karma yoga has incredible benefits. At minimum, you get really good karma from the activity and get good stuff happening to you. At maximum, you get complete spiritual consciousness, where oh yeah, where there is, where really all suffering goes away, because with this kind of mindset, no matter what happens to you, you can see it as just past karma. Something horrible might happen to you, and you're like, oh well, that's just bad karma burning off. What is the best way I can react to this? Oh yeah, I'll choose the best possible reaction. Something good happens to you, and you're like, oh, that's just good karma burning off. It's nice, but I'm not particularly perturbed by the good thing happening. I know good things pass, good and bad things both pass, but ultimately, I'm just fully satisfied by serving Krishna. And that's my life, and that makes me happy. I'm not really happy. You don't get affected by the good and bad karma that might come and influence you. And that is ultimately the way to true happiness, because otherwise, good and bad karma come and you're a plaything of karmic reaction. You're not steady in your happiness. So, to be self-satisfied in the way that all your activities are fully spiritual can lead to ultimate happiness. Today and forever. So, any questions?